Can one populist survive 20 Democrats and Republicans?
We've tried establishment Democrats, complete failures. We've tried establishment Republicans, complete failures. We tried fake populism under Donald Trump, complete failure.
I disagree.
Claim number one is that Democrats and Republicans agree on economic issues and try to divide us and distract us with culture wars.
I mean, I actually do agree with that, though. How could anyone disagree with this?
How are you, Cenk?
I mean, like, to be clear, I think that Democrats and Republicans agree in the sense that they agree that the messaging to the people should always be, we're going to help the poors. But the messaging to the donors is always, oh, no, for sure, we're definitely voting to improve your pockets, to improve your billionaire pockets. Like, I think they agree on that front.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
My name's Oliver.
Hey, Oliver.
Yeah. So I guess the first place I want to start off with your claim is to first say that I think there's a grain of truth in it. And I think I would largely agree that when it comes to the system of neoliberalism, the system of capitalism, I think there can be a lot of overlap. I think where I would probably push back a little bit is when we look specifically at what policy issues get passed and how they affect people, there seems to be a very big difference. So for example, under the Biden administration, we saw with the expansion of the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid, we saw over 8 million people become eligible for Medicaid who were previously not eligible. If we contrast that right now with what's in Trump's big, beautiful bill, over a 10-year period, that would make between 15 and 16 million people ineligible for Medicaid. So it seems on a crucial economic issue that affects people's ability to, survive, have quality health care, live quality lives. There seems to be a stark contrast. So I'm just wondering your thoughts on that.
So where I would disagree is the word stark. So I understand there is a contrast. That's why I vote Democrat. Mm-hmm. But these are giant butts here.
Maybe there's a qualify in there. Is it largely agree? Is it mainly agree?
It's definitely large. Yeah,
okay.
It's not 100% agree.
Sure.
Otherwise, it would be too obvious.
Sure.
But is it true that they largely agree? Of course. So I'll give you many other examples.
Okay.
Paid family leaves at 84%. Yet the Democrats never seem to be able to pass it. Why do they never pass it? Because they're not trying. They said they do the public option. Joe Biden didn't even announce introduce the public option. Why? Because they agree with
I love the conversation that's being had right here. It's just like two of the most annoying people you know personally arguing about nothing. Like, yes, I think that this is like surface level valuable for people that still believe in the Democrats, like for liberals.
Well, I don't think they agree with Republicans necessarily. I just think that sometimes it's hard to pass legislation in a bitterly divided Congress. Would you acknowledge that it's difficult very often in order to get things done? You don't.
See, that is the number one excuse Democrats use. Okay. Oh, golly gee, there was nothing we could do. And they're saying there was nothing we could do.
Hey, Cenk. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Great to be speaking with you. I agree with your overall term here. I would say that at the end goal.
That was such a worthless conversation. I'm sorry to be like so critical, but that was so worthless. It was just like, yeah, well, the Democrats sort of wanted us to do a couple things. And then Cenk being like, okay, but it wasn't enough. And then we didn't get anywhere. It's like, okay.
They agree that economically, we all want the same things, right? But the way we get it is two completely different economical viewpoints. We have the left that tends to be more socialist and communist, and then we have the right that is more crony capitalist.
Okay.
The left wants to take your taxes and they want to distribute it the way they want.
Yeah.
The right wants you to keep your taxes right now. They want you to keep your overtime taxes.
Democrats and Republicans constantly say that they have giant differences. Then what did the Republicans do? They do massive tax cuts for the rich. And then Obama, by the way, came in.
I can't. Wait.
So they're literally taking from the poorest people and giving it to the richest people.
Which is what the liberals have been doing forever. So what's the difference?
That's the prompt. The prompt is that the liberals and the Republicans are doing this. That's the prompt. Oh my God.
How are they doing? So no, brother, what I'm saying is you're actually proving my point. Democrats and Republicans constantly say that they have giant differences.
50% of the people that come up on the Surrounded one, on like the Surrounded Jubilee episodes, they agree with the prompt and then they get on to be like, but I don't like the way you said it.
Tax cuts,
save more money when Republicans are in office. Why do me as a business owner continue to save money?
So you know why? So I'm a small business owner. So we save a little bit of money. The giant corporations save a ton of money.
Isn't it better if everybody saves money?
No, it's not.
Why not? That makes no sense.
No, brother.
Because there are people that are not business owners or billionaires. I know this is crazy, but there are people that are workers and laborers that are not benefiting at all.
Easy to say, okay, then we shouldn't have any roads, bridges, cops, fire departments,
Nobody's
schools.
saying that. We just don't want our money going to foreign.
We shouldn't have any taxes.
We just don't want our money going to foreign countries.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
On drag events.
And by the way, that's another thing that proves my point.
Foreign country drag events. Oh God, dude. Oh my God.
Republicans and Democrats always do whatever AIPAC tells them. So that is a foreign
that's
government.
a whole different argument.
No, it's not an
I
argument.
would
It's the
agree.
same argument. It's the donor class.
Thank you, Cenk.
Yeah.
Premiums are subsidized. Like, this is good policy. And I agree with you. Sometimes, in many cases, Democrats lack a spine. They don't push hard enough. But I think chalking that up to like, they're pretty much the same, there's just a little release valve difference is a little bit reductive.
Yeah, it's not at all reductive, and the Affordable Care Act is a perfect example of it. So you're right, it was better than the previous system because the previous system had pre-existing conditions, and you can get blocked for that.
Average liberal brain can't understand like the difference between what they're saying and the difference between the prompt. Cenk isn't even saying here that Democrats and Republicans are exactly the same in every single way, and they impact people exactly the same way. No, Republicans just go in harder. They just destroy our social safety nets faster. They just destroy more of them. They just funnel more money faster to the 1%. And Democrats sometimes just pretend to placate people a little bit. You think I'd be disqualified if I kicked the chair out from under the other person running for the chair? Well, I think the problem is that the running is all fake.
And the American people despise that. So it needed to be changed. Yeah. That is part of the reason why a right-wing think tank, Heritage Foundation, came up with Romney Care.
The Republicans right now in Congress are trying to push a reconciliation bill that literally guts Medicaid when the ACA expanded Medicaid.
Yes. So they always move the goalposts. So what do? They bring in, okay, here's our release valve. Okay, now the American people are still mad. Of course they are. Here, let's talk about the next.
Crazy that liberals make Cenk seem reasonable. I know.
Steps that happened. Obama said, yeah, we might do the public option, which would have been not universal health care, but a good step forward. Right. I was there. Young Turk's been around forever. And I was like, yes, you got to do the public option. Then Obama says publicly, I guess we can't do the public option. Wink. Well, and they immediately took it out of the bill.
Right?
What's that?
That's because of Joe Lieberman, right? But 59 other Democrats would have voted for the public
option. We just can't help it. There's just always one Democrat that's just fudging it up for everybody. Sometimes it's Chuck Schumer. And he just has his book tours that he has to get to, and he just doesn't have the time. Sometimes it's Hakeem Jeffries, and you just I don't know what to tell you. The rotating villain, yeah, so that they can blame it all on that one person and be like, if it wasn't for this guy, we could have helped you guys. If it wasn't for Joe Manchin, we could have helped you guys. It's like, it seems like you guys always have a fall guy for why there are no policies that ever fundamentally change these systems and improve people's lives.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. They're like, let's take a really, really long time with Romney Care. Oops, we ran out of our 60. Things changed. Okay, now the Republicans are ignoring
this is the problem for me. I think like being a liberal has made less and less and less sense since 2000. I would say since 2008, where you're like, wait, you guys have had power. You've sat on this power and you've done nothing with it. You've done absolutely nothing with it. You just sat on all this power and then said, we ran out of time. Sorry, we would have codified Roe v. Wade, but we forgot. We were so busy. Sorry. We were bombing a bunch of brown kids in the Middle East. Our bad. We would have given you guys healthcare, but oops, we forgot. Sorry.
Parliamentarian when they're trying to pass this bill. So the Democrats keep finding excuses. Why did they take the public option out of the bill?
You think Obama
Why did they
didn't
never
want the
introduce
public
the public
option?
option back again? I don't think the Democrats want the public option at all.
When 59 senators said we'll vote yes on this and Lieberman
That's what I'm
that.
trying to tell you, brother. They don't mean it. So let me give you two examples.
Dude, stop making Cenk look reasonable. Stop.
Getting that from?
Where am I getting it from?
If Lieberman agreed, would we not have gotten a public option?
The public option polls at over 70%. They didn't even try to pass it.
Sure, but
Number two, when
policy,
Biden came into office, said he was going to do public option, and then he lied, and he never once introduced
Biden had like no political capital compared to Obama.
Oh, now they don't have political capital. Golly gee,
these are the realities of how you pass
oh my God, I can't. The voters are sick of I can't.
It's not
Why don't you actually try? I dare you to vote against it. If you vote against it, you're voting against 84% of Americans, and you will lose your next election. I will campaign against you. I will find a Republican to campaign against you.
No.
But you say, no, God, don't even try. Don't even try.
I just with Mr. Lieberman. It was just his fault. It's definitely not that they're all colluding together. No, the Democrats would never lie to me. Mm-mm. Like, this guy is he's enacting. Dude, this guy is everything that everyone hates, or that leftists especially hate about liberals. This is like why people hate liberals so fucking much. have you guys seen like this is so stupid, but when the characters get tricked in Tom and Jerry and then they turn into donkeys because they're making an ass of themselves, that's what this is in real time. Like, I know. We're really pulling up the old memes. We're really pulling up the ancient memes. This is a deep cut. This is a meme deep cut. But like, this is why people hate liberals. Yes, I'm playing Tom and Jerry clips. Yes, in 2025. No, you can't stop me.
Come on, boy. Go get it. Come on.
This is every fucking liberal.
We have these giant differences, but we never pass our bills. We never even try. And who took out $15 minimum wage? Joe Biden took out $15 minimum wage. So they never meet it.
The symbol for Democrats is perfect. The symbol for Republicans is not good. Elephants are genuinely sweet creatures. Okay, they're smart. They're sweet animals, and they mourn their relatives. They have funerals and they remember. Okay, like elephants are, it's the elephant in the room, Denims. Oh, wait. Anywho.
They say no. When Medicaid's actually cut and you pull them, they're just cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. So like nominally, yes, everyone agrees universal health care.
No, they had more than enough to block it because the Democrats don't mean it. They always do rotating villains. So brother, at what point are you going to say the failure is on purpose and not golly gee, they're the Washington Generals against the Harlem Globetrotters?
When you have slim majorities, paradigm shifting policy is just harder to pass.
But 60
and this is the other problem with liberals. When you point this out, they're like, but right now we don't have one, and sometimes we only have slim majorities. I'm gonna ignore what you're saying because sometimes there's a paradigm shift. Like, oh my god, dude, you are so cucked to be a liberal and actually be politically informed and still remain a liberal and be like, they just their job is just really hard. Their job is just super difficult.
It's not a slim majority. You constantly make excuses. Obama had $15
minimum
and he
wage.
still didn't do it. If they could have 80 and you'd still find an excuse.
The ACA was massive legislation that he got with 60.
Yes,
60
beautiful
votes.
Romney Care from Heritage Foundation.
Nice meeting you, man.
Thank you, man.
How are you?
Hey there.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you raised a very interesting point when you said that Democrats and Republicans agree essentially on the same issues and that they want to distract us with culture wars. The question that I would raise is, why are culture wars a distraction when they're such a vital issue? It's important to myself as a conservative, and I'm quite certain to every Democrat in this
The Black conservative is here to tell us that culture wars are actually a very important issue. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
room. Issues like abortion, social justice, or things that affect us in ways that maybe some policies only benefit the rich. Why should we not focus on things that benefit Americans every day and that could affect women's bodies or gay people's right to get married or maintain the right?
Yeah. So I'm not saying that social issues are not important. That's why I vote Democrat instead of Republican, because I believe women should have the right to an abortion and many of the other things that are on the left. Okay. But at the same time, when you talk about trans sports, for example, do you know how many trans athletes there are in the NCAAs?
No, I don't.
10 out of 500,000 athletes. They want you to look left and right. They don't want you to look up. Look up. Okay.
Well, of course, having to look up is very vital. Okay. My master always tells us to look up. That's why I wear the cross. But the point that I'm making is that
I know he means God, but that is a crazy decision to make. That's a crazy stylistic decision to make. That's so insane to me. That's really insane to me. Who says that? Wait, run it back.
social vital. Okay.
Right. They don't want you to look up. Look up. Okay.
Well, of course, having to
Look up. Look up.
look up is very vital. Okay. My master always tells us to look up. That's why I wear the cross. But the point that I'm making is
Where do these people come from? I don't know.
that social issues, in order to really, wouldn't it make sense to effectively mobilize people? You should start with things that can touch them every single day. Social issues impact children, women, men, all of us across all ages and across all ideologies.
Because that's where you can make real change. So that's why they love it when you go, oh, well, if you don't vote for a Democrat, Trump's going to be in office and Trump's the boogeyman. And the Republicans will say likewise, right? So go vote in your primaries so you don't have to worry about Democrats or Republicans. You're still in the same party. But get rid of the bums who are for corporate donors who always serve donors, and get people that you love on both economic issues and social issues. You don't have to give up one, but you have to insist on them representing you and not the donor class.
Very great conversation, brother.
Thank you, brother.
He said very great conversation, but I don't feel like they made any headway or agreed or decided on anything reasonable. It's like they cherry pick people to make Cenk look good. Cenk is making the same tired arguments he's been making for 20 years. And this guy's like, what? Chew gum and walk at the same time.
Hello.
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I'm not going to disagree with you that in every case, Democrats don't go after the most radical economic policy. One example that
Not radical. They all poll over 70%.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I'm a Democrat myself. The economy was completely destroyed in 2020 after COVID. It was completely destroyed in 2007 after Obama. So there has to be a little give there.
So on economic...
Well, you understand, the Democrats have to spend all their time cleaning up Republican messes, so even when they're in power, they can't ever do anything. What are they supposed to do? Enact radical change? We can't do that. They're just small beans.
Huh?
Donald Trump takes it from 35 to 21. It's a massive corporate tax cut. That's on Trump. That's on the Republicans. Then Joe Biden says, well, I'm going to fight that. And he gets a lot of votes to go fight that. And he says, I'm going to bring it back up to 28%. I'm like, wait.
It is actually a good analogy. Good cop, bad cop. This is fundamentally how Democrats get liberal voters, is by pretending to be good cops. Every time, consistently across the board. And then they infantilize themselves. They're like, we can't do anything. I know it makes no sense what we're saying because the Republicans get in power and then they just do literally whatever they want, wherever they want, whenever they want, and they're never beholden to any of the rules that they claim that we're supposed to be beholden on. But I don't know, like, we're just small beings. Like, oh my God, dude. Liberals, Democrats in power, and then Republican voters being like, they can't do that. Congress has the power of the purse. Okay? The president doesn't get to decide where to spend the money. That's not the president's job. Okay? The president can't just remove all this student debt. He doesn't have the power of the purse. And then when Donald Trump wants to spend $10 quadrillion on like making the Oval Office gold, they're like, well, he can kind of do whatever. I mean, I don't support it, but like, you know, I like everything else that he's done. Why are we like, at some point you have to realize as a liberal, as a Democratic voter, you are the most cucked person on the fucking planet. And if you're gonna be that cucked, why are you voting? Just sit in the fucking chair and watch everybody else vote instead. Because you're not doing anything that's like meaningful. It's not like you ever criticize the people that are actually in office that you vote in. So why the fuck are you even participating in the system at all? Sit in your cuck chair. Sit. Well, listen, just because the Republicans do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, we should still follow their rules that they set for us and not for them. What? Why? Why would we do that? Why would we ever do that?
35. So already he's conceding, yeah, I love corporate corporate tax cuts.
Yeah,
Hold on.
We don't know all the backdoor negotiations that happened between Joe Biden and Joe Manchin. At the end of the day, right, you can't have everything you want, whether you're Joe Manchin or Joe...
Oh my God, dude. Like do liberals just not know how cuck they are? This is a crazy sentence that I'm going to say, but I want you all to stick with it for me. Stick with me for a second. I feel like we could solve the liberal brain rot problem if we just made them watch a couple shonen animes. Because I don't think that they understand like radical empathy as like a concept. Which one? I mean, you can make them watch Naruto. You can make them watch One Piece. You can make them watch Bleach. Just make them watch anything. Just like any shonen anime. Any like, I guess like older shonen anime. Because I don't know about like, I haven't kept up with modern shonen anime. Because there's a key principle in shonen anime. My Hero Academia is a good one, where it's like, it doesn't matter how powerless you are, you never give up and you never compromise. You don't compromise with Hitler. You don't compromise with Hitler Light. You don't compromise with like the people who actively want to destroy modern society. You don't compromise with those people. They tell you, well, you can save this one, your girlfriend, or you can save this entire town. I'm going to nuke the town or kill your girlfriend. Pick one. And you say, no, I will not compromise with you. Actually, no. Giga Chad, I will save them both. I will. You don't compromise with the fucking fascists in power. You don't say, oh, well, we just can't have everything, I guess. We'll just have to set the school bus of kids on fire. No. But they can't imagine to use the trolley problem, to absolutely obliterate the trolley problem with this one secret trick that philosophers hate. You can just build another train track. We don't have to stay on the 2 trolley tracks that kill 1 person or 1,000 people. You can build another one. We're the richest country on the planet. We don't actually need the orphan crushing machine. And the idea that there's just only 2 options. Ugh. Oh, this sucks. We just can't do it all. No.
Biden.
Did you ever consider that they don't mean it? The reason that Joe Biden never tried to raise corporate taxes is because he doesn't want corporate taxes to go up. It was all a trick. It was all a game played on all of us.
No, I don't buy it.
No, I know. There was nothing they could do. That's why they didn't even bother trying. They never bothered trying on any of this. And you keep insisting,
Look.
well, good enough. I'll take my 5% change. Thank you, sir. May I have another, sir? So please, for God's sake.
Dude, you're such a bad fucking... Oh, dude, you're such a pathetic fucking Democrat or Republican to like lose so hard on any of these topics to Cenk, dude. Fuck.
Wake up and unite to actually get economic policies that we love. The whole country wants.
You can say
except
that,
those corrupt
but
politicians.
In West Virginia, Kamala Harris lost by 30 points. Okay. If you put someone that is to the left of Kamala Harris on any economic issue, they're going to lose by that same margin.
Wrong. Totally wrong. Like, did we not just see Zoran Mamdani fucking mop up in New York? Like, did we not see that? I'm sorry. Call that man a janitor the way that he cleaned up. The name is Mamdani.
Totally wrong. Do you know what percentage of Americans want to not cut taxes on the rich, but raise taxes on the rich?
Probably all of them when you ask it that way.
No. What do you mean? On television, they constantly say, oh, cutting taxes is popular. Raising taxes is very unpopular. That's not true. But the Democrats don't say that. They say, oh, I'm going to try a little bit, and then I'm not even going to introduce any of those bills. I don't think the lens that you're seeing it through is the lens that a lot of voters see it through when they're going to vote for people like Joe Manchin, people that will give us a Senate majority. Good talk, all right, thank you.
That was the dumbest point I've ever heard in my life. I don't think you're thinking about the Joe Manchin voters hard enough. This entire the last Surrounded episode was like, jail those people because they are Nazi fascist fucks that want to kill and detain anyone that doesn't subscribe to their fucking theocracy. But this one is just like, let me see if I can find it. This one just feels like this.
Now imagine you're holding coffee.
This is outrageous. Where are the armed men who come in to take the protesters away? Where are they? This kind of behavior is never tolerated because of jail.
That's how I feel about this Surrounded episode. Well, Joe Manchin, you believe it or not, straight to jail. Believe it or not, talking about Joe Manchin voters, straight to jail. Straight to jail.
Podcast.
We have the best voters because of jail.
Wherever you listen, search Surrounded, plug in, and stay part of the conversation. Anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, whatever.
Next claim is Democrats don't want to pass their agenda. It's a marketing ploy, not a mission.
I think if you are on the left, if you are not a Republican in America, if you are not a Lulbitarian, if you are not a Republican and you are not a centrist, you identify as something other than those 3 things, and you don't believe this yet, like you're either a child or you are severely brain damaged. If you think that Democrats want to ever win elections or pass their agendas, you are actually an idiot. And I have so many bridges to sell you.
Hi, Zena, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Zena. So we do affirmative action because, guys, we got to let others in. Otherwise, it's not fair, right? And so that makes sense. But then over the course of decade after decade after decade, we wind up with DEI. And DEI has some good things in it, but it also had some abuses in it. We covered it on the Young Turks. There'd be situations where a white woman would say, okay, now can I tell you my perspective? And they would say, no, shut up. Your job is to learn. No, don't do that. Okay.
So are you talking about like fringe cases in which like someone would say that they feel unfairly treated by DEI? Because I think in any type of law that we're going to see passed, we're going to see fringe cases in which the law is.
Can I listen? I'm sorry. There's no way he said that the DEI had abuses in it because they were telling the white women to shut up. Did I miss?
Covered on the Young Turks, there'd be situations where a white woman would say, okay, now can I tell you my perspective? And they would say, no, shut up. Your job is to learn.
Talking about? Is he just talking about Anna Kasparian? Is that what he's just talking about? Anna Kasparian? Well, DEI is really nice and all, but a lot of people have been telling a white woman that I know, not that well. I mean, I know her pretty well, but like not anyone that you would think of. And they were telling her to shut up, and it was really mean to her. And that's basically a workplace.
No, No, don't do that. Don't do that, okay?
So are you talking about like fringe cases in which like someone would say that they feel unfairly treated by DEI? Because I think in any type of law that we're going to see passed, we're going to see fringe cases in which the law is I guess, manipulated in some case to negatively affect certain groups. And we saw that like the protocol actually represented a lot less of the Black population that exists in this country, whereas DEI ensures that we have a representative pool of applicants and admitted students in our colleges, which is extremely important.
So look, again, DEI and affirmative action had their role, had their place, and oftentimes
I'm saying that they have a role now.
So, but what it also does at the same time, though, is serves to divide us. And so, look, if you say to me,
okay, finally someone competent was able to make Cenk look like an idiot. Finally. Finally, we brought on someone who wasn't a raging moron that can actually make Cenk look ridiculous. It only took forever, but...
Hey, maybe Muslims have a disadvantage even if you take class into account. So should we give a little bit of extra weight to Muslim candidates? I would say absolutely not.
Why not?
Do not do that. Because then what it does is it makes everyone bitter about the Muslim candidates.
Here's the problem.
And it makes them seem like they
Here's
didn't
what I
earn
find
it
super important.
when in fact they did earn it.
So what you're explaining is the response to the policy, and you're not actually digging at the policy in of itself. You're saying because people will...
The problem is that he's like preaching about quotas, which is not first of all, not the majority of affirmative action. And I don't even believe that like quotas are... what is it called? I want to go as far as to say they're not constitutional. And we can't force companies to have quotas. We can't force schools to have quotas. So like, that's not even what's happening. When we're talking about DEI, we're talking about having your job listings available to more Black and brown people, having equal opportunity hiring practices. For example, removing names from the job application, right? That you should judge the job application without looking at the name at all, based on that person's resume, based on that person's job experience, and then you look at the name. Because we know that when you don't have that extra screening, less Black people get hired. So like, we're not even, us talking, yeah, you're right. It was decided by, I always forget how to pronounce this one, Regents of the University of California. Yeah, I don't remember the exact details of it, but you can't really have quotas, and corporations, any companies that say that they try to hire more diverse a more diverse group of people, or that universities that try to have more diverse student bodies, those are active decisions by those companies, and it doesn't necessarily require, the state is not requiring a quota. These are not active policies today that are forcing Muslims into schools and jobs. Again, when we're talking about better policies for minorities that have been disadvantaged, we're talking about leveling the playing ground or the playing field, dedicating more resources to helping poorer communities build good resumes, improve their interview taking skills, right?
Come out and be, racist or Islamophobic or whatever it might be because of a policy that is ensuring equality of opportunity. We should cancel the policy.
My point here is that this is among the different things that the Democrats do, where they say, "Hey, I think they're being performative." They say, "Oh, we're in favor of DEI."
It might be performative, but the output is important.
What the thing that would help?
This shouldn't be called one populist versus 20 Democrats and Republicans. This should be called one class reductionist versus 20 Democrats and Republicans.
Latino community, Muslim community, all those communities is actually raising the minimum wage, lowering drug prices, but we never do the material help. We never do the things that equal things out economically.
You still haven't critiqued the policy in of itself. You're saying people will get angry if we come out and we promote these different metrics of helping people.
No, I am critiquing the policy.
So what exactly about the policy?
Yeah, so what in the policy?
Because it divides us.
How does I like how she clearly stated her criticism with his statement, which is, you haven't criticized the DEI policies. You just keep saying that it makes people upset. And he said, no, I did. And she's like, okay, so what is your problem with it? Well, it divides us. That's not a problem with the policy. That's just the exact same thing that she said you were saying.
So even though it has
by saying that racism exists,
yeah. So
but racism,
but not by saying that racism exists. So you have to acknowledge reality, right? What you're saying is now we're going to put Black people in this category. We're going to put white people in this category.
Because there are categories that have the subconscious level that we characterize.
So even if you get a benefit from that, you say, hey, I reduced racism by 10%, 20%, etc. What you're doing is you're not noticing the giant downside of that, which is then people.
Listen, we would implement anti-sexual assault policies at Blizzard Studios, at Riot Studios, but you're not noticing the giant downside of that, which is all the men who work there who love to grope women now don't get to grope women, and it decreases their productivity. Okay? You're making the workplace worse for everybody else. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? I just think she can produce more breast milk and it would improve that guy's ability to show up. Listen, if he really likes breast milk to the point where he has to steal it, think about how happy he is to show up to work. Okay, you're not noticing the giant downside of holding these freaks accountable, of making the workplace safer for women. When you make the workplace safer for women and they don't have to worry about their breast milk being stolen at Blizzard, well, that guy gets really sad because he doesn't get to steal your breast milk anymore. Think about that. Think about how much that sucks. Maybe he would have made a killer game in the studio yesterday. Maybe he would have made some crazy assets yesterday, and then you robbed him of his breast milk that he wanted. What the hell is this conversation? Men drink breast milk? Sorry, for the people that got lost in the conversation, Blizzard was like sued along with Riot Studios, basically every fucking large gaming studio, because of workplace harassment against women. And there were a lot of things. There was like, highly recommend reading the lawsuit. Okay, it's not a hypothetical. It is not a hypothetical. It is reality. But like they were passing around this like smash or pass list of all the female coworkers, which is inappropriate workplace behavior. Women were frequently degraded and mocked in meetings. They were often denied promotions and denied raises despite having significantly more time with the company over the men that they were passed up over. Some of the women there were sexually harassed and assaulted at work. But the most offensive one was one of the women there said that someone was stealing her breast milk. So for people who don't know anything about nursing children, when you lactate, because you had kids, you don't really get to control how much you're lactating, when you're lactating, or whatever. And it's pretty common for women who work in workplaces or go outside to use the bathroom to use like the milk pumping machines. And then they store that milk in the fridge, and then they take it home for their kid. And so, hey, yo, what's up, stuff? And so this woman was saying that her breast milk kept getting stolen while she was at Activision Blizzard. That she would pump, she would pump, and then she would put the breast milk in the fridge, to take home for later for her kid. And then, it kept being stolen. It's also claimed that the refrigerators needed to be padlocked because other employees would use them to keep beer in and even steal breast milk. There was no fridge in the room, and this is like in the breastfeeding room. So I had to label and carry my breast milk out and store it in the break room fridge. It was very clearly breast milk in baggies with a baby's face on it. One day I went to retrieve my pumped supply at the end of the day, and it was gone. Someone either taken my bags and tossed them or stolen them for some very creepy reason. My wife has to pump at work because otherwise there literally isn't time for her to pump. Otherwise, when she's home, our child has to nurse, so she can't. And of course, she has to sleep. They're literally stealing from babies too. Like dog. In the States, there's actually a law that there needs to be a separate room for women to be able to pump in. Yeah. Also, stored breast milk is not really something you're going to mistake for something else. Oh, this little baby bottle with a baby's face on it labeled breast milk? I thought this was oat milk. I'm so sorry. Anyways, it was really good. Like, what was happening at Blizzard? And then they had like the Bill Cosby suite. Like the working conditions at Blizzard and Riot were totally fucked. TLDR here. She's the woman that's on right now that's debating Cenk on this. She's saying, no, you don't get to just like pretend like these aren't problems, that like racism isn't a problem, that DEI is just, it's causing more harm than good because it's dividing us. You don't get to make that decision on behalf of like non-white people. What the fuck? So I'm drawing an analogy between these two things. You can't say like, oh, well, yeah, we could implement anti-sexual harassment policies in our workplaces so, women don't have their breast milk stolen at work and don't get sexually harassed at work. But what about how it's going to divide us? Did you consider that? Did you consider that it's going to divide us? Because it's going to divide us. It's like, I don't care if it divides us. That's their problem because they're racist. That's like literally peak culture war issue nonsense.
start to view each other as black, white,
We've
Asian,
always done that. That's happening unconsciously all the time.
You're right, but what I would love is for us to stop doing that.
All of our
For
psychology.
people to stop looking at me as a Muslim and you as a black person. I want them to look at you as an American and me as an American.
If you want less racism and less racial categorizing.
I was looking up some answers earlier, and Grokking and Denims is right about Blizzard. I'm sorry. It was happening during peak Overwatch, dude. How do you think I felt as an Overwatch player?
Or to us to see that as less of an initial categorization. Studies show that we need to attack racism and race as a concept like head on. We cannot ignore them or input race neutral policy into place. What we find is that characterizing race, saying what it is, saying what racism is, and thus confronting ourselves with our biases is what limits them. So no, we can't say, let's stop dividing people with the corrective policy. The corrective policy.
Just really quickly, one thing I will say I love that they picked this photo of Cenk. This is totally irrelevant to the conversation, but like, what a crazy photo. All right, back to the video.
Is helping something that has always existed, that's happening all the time.
So I told you I have an issue with the policy itself. I think it divides us.
You haven't explained it, though.
And do the Democrats actually pass their agenda? Even if they agreed with you, did they pass Voting Rights Act? They did not.
The problem is capitulating to right framework, which I think was what you're doing here when you said the response to DEI is going to be negative. The thing is, when we... All right, thank you.
Dude, she ate the fuck up. She actually ate the fuck up.
All right, thank you.
Hey,
good to meet you.
So Democrats don't want to pass their agenda. I would say they want to pass their agenda. It's just, if you ask 50 Democrats what their agenda is, you'd get 60 different answers. We've got the environmentalists who hate the labor people hate the environmentalists. We have the gay rights lobby. We have racial justice people. We have all different people.
The number one recipient was Intel, $8.5 billion in grants and $11 billion in loans. So about $20 billion overall. I said, for God's sake, at least put in guardrails so they can't fire people. They said, oh, don't worry, Intel's going to create 10,000 jobs. You know what they did? They didn't put in the guardrails. And right afterwards, Intel fired 20,000 people.
That's just weird to mention guardrails against firing.
Sorry, wait. Intel announced its plans to lay off 25,000 employees worldwide by the end of 2025. Company received nearly $20 billion in funds and loans from the CHIPS Act.
And right afterwards, Intel fired 20,000 people.
That's just weird to mention guardrails against firing people when you rejected a union at your company and fired somebody for organizing.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true. You could say that.
Uh-oh.
If you like.
That is true. Look it up. There's a union now, but you could
okay, let's see what it says. Production and post-production crew at the Young Turks voted to unionize at 2020, according to a report in Politico. Cenk Uygur intensely pressured staffers not to unionize. Okay, but this point doesn't make any sense that the guy is making in his fucking Rogers sweater or whatever the fuck. Because like, just because Cenk is a hypocrite doesn't mean that the point that he's making isn't salient, right? That like capitalists will always do this. All that tells you is that like Cenk is the capitalist telling you that capitalists will always do this.
They're intimidating us. We didn't ask for this.
We're getting way off base here.
I know, because you brought us off base with a random attack against me.
Because you brought up guardrails. Let me just say one final thing.
Let me finish, because you're not going to smear me and not let me explain, okay? So
he messed with the yogurt, dude.
Then I said, since people felt intimidated, it's okay.
You felt intimidated.
No. How do you know? You're not even that. You weren't there. Okay, now back to what you thought was. I thought we were arguing about.
Good talking to you.
I'm not really, but okay.
Still yelling, let me answer! Dude, the duality of man. Cenk Uygur in the middle of his yelling speech saying, let me answer! And then like Ethan pausing my video saying, say something! Say something! I'm literally paused like...
Hey, Cenk.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I have a lot of respect for you, but I worry about your progressive populism is dangerous.
Here's what you say.
What if we... Those who know. So yeah, lucky to have Joe Manchin. And what a great end. What a great note to end on. Like, that's everything you need to know, by the way. Everything you need to know.
Hey. So your claim is that Democrats don't want to pass their agenda. You've talked about $15 an hour minimum wage.
No, they don't.
If Joe Biden didn't want to do it, why did he increase it?
But
for federal contractors, he didn't have the votes to pass it.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. So what he does is he does it for 5% of people with student debt relief. He did it for 10% of people. He didn't do it for 90%. So
it is crazy that like the Democratic strategy is so effective in getting the most annoying people to defend them. Like, they're so good at winning over these type of people. The Libbers, we gave you crumbs, stop whining. Democrats and Republicans, like liberals specifically, and like MAGA fucking morons, they are always the like the Patrick Wallet meme. Like, that's always them, and that will always be them. So long as they are attached to these parties, like you can lead them down the path completely. You can be like, okay, you agree that when the Democrats are in power, but they don't have a majority, they can't get things done. And you agree that when they have some power, they still kind of don't get things done. And you agree when they have full power and they have the majority, they still don't get things done. So you agree that they just don't care about getting things done. That's just not true. That's just like totally not true. That none of that is true. It's like, where did I lose you?
And anybody can look it up.
Are you claiming then that all Democrats that take corporate money are against the people? Is that your claim?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. So $20 million is an investment.
Okay.
It is not here, take the money and then you do what we tell you to do. Everyone has, if you're building a business, you have to take investment to get to the next level.
Cenk, I built
hold
a
on,
business.
if
See, again, the problem is trying to bring up that Cenk is a hypocrite doesn't actually do anything, because it just proves that he's right. Like, it's just you saying, oh yeah, you're saying the capitalists love to destroy our system and make things better for the capital owners. Well, you as a capital owner did exactly that. It's like, what's the own here? Like, that's not, BNL, thank you so much for the 19 months. Thank you. In Cenk's defense, he's not a politician, but yeah, he's a hypocrite. I mean, like, being a capitalist is enough.
if you don't take the investment, you're going to be tiny. So what some leftists say is, no, don't ever build anything. Don't ever take an investment. Just be super small so we can't compete with the right wing.
Cenk,
How does that make sense?
I'm pro you taking that investment. I've built a business. I understand that. I just think that it's ironic for you then to sit up here and say that everybody that takes corporate money is against the people, because then you would be against the people.
No, that doesn't make that.
He's talking about politicians. Like, this is not an own. This is not an own. This is not an own. The thing is, business owners are, as long as we live in a capitalist structure, business owners will always, and capitalists will always, do the thing that makes the most sense financially for the company, or for themselves, or for the stockholders, right? The hope is that politicians are not capitally motivated, and that politicians are people motivated, that they respond to their constituents because they are public servants, and that politicians don't, get in bed with corporations.
Apples and oranges.
Why is it apples and oranges?
I can explain perfectly.
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say thanks so much to Straight Arrow News for powering the...
Okay.
My next claim is the Republicans only care about the rich and everything else is a mirage.
Okay, this one will be a fun one.
How are you?
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So personally, I don't like absolutes, so I try to stay away from them. When you say the Republicans, are you talking about the party establishment? Are you talking about the politicians? Are you talking about the citizens?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that. I always mean the politicians.
Okay. Do you buy into any of that concept at all?
No.
I mean, as like entrepreneurs who are going out there innovating,
I didn't hear that. He didn't talk about it. He said something. He didn't say trickle-down economics, right? No.
Do they ever balance the budget?
No,
Never.
No. So do you think that like the idea that employers who have a lot of money, that they provide jobs and that's a way to give back to the poor? Do you buy into any of that?
You would think after like a billion different economists all agreed that trickle-down economics never works, has never worked, and will never work, we would finally get to the point where people would stop talking about trickle-down economics. And yet here we still are. Tax cuts for the wealthy only benefit the rich. Debunking trickle-down economics, like literally any economist worth anything will tell you that there is no such thing as trickle-down economics that actually works. It doesn't make any sense. It has never worked. It will never work. It has never worked. Oh, bro, just trust me. It'll trickle down any minute now. Bro, just trust me. Bro, for real, just trust me. Sorry, I love this chatter. Crazy. I was given the truth yesterday. I got banned in this channel. Okay, you don't know what a ban is. It's a timeout. Okay, get it right. Denims talking about the economy. LOL. The duality of chatters. Trickle in my ass after getting fucked. What would make you send this message? What? No one's saying, bro, trust me. This is like my favorite thing. This is my favorite thing that chatters love to do. And it's not chatters, actually, it's haters. They love to be like, what do you know? While I'm actively pulling up people who know things talking about these issues. It'd be like, oh, really? Oh, really? just because you think homeless people have jobs doesn't mean they have jobs. While I have an article up that shows that 40% of homeless people have jobs. It's like, I didn't write these papers. I didn't tell economists what to think about this. I didn't tell featured researcher Dr. David Hope what to write in this article. I didn't email him and say, hey, you need to make an article about how tax cuts for the wealthy only benefit the rich. Dr. Hope, please, you have to write this down. Like, take it up with the economists, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I just don't get these. I just don't get it.
Concept at all.
No.
I mean, as like entrepreneurs who are going out there innovating, I'm a classroom teacher. What about minimum wage? Like as a business owner,
Yes.
like the repercussions of minimum wage. I haven't been to McDonald's in a while. I went, it's been years. I went and it's just a screen. Like there is that element, of the minimum wage.
Guy who's definitely worked at a McDonald's.
Wage. Like as a business owner,
Yes.
like the repercussions of minimum wage. I haven't been to McDonald's in a while. I went, it's been years. I went and it's just a screen.
Oh no, he's saying as a customer, he went to a McDonald's and it was just a screen that he ordered off of. This is such a stupid point because this totally contradicts his points about trickle-down economics, that if we put more money into businesses, that everyone will do better because they're job creators. Meanwhile, they put more money into companies and then guess what? They remove jobs. What the fuck is that?
Like there is that element, of the minimum wage raising and that leading to more unemployment.
Yeah, so I don't agree with that either.
Job creation, by the way. Do you know how hard you have to fuck up, by the way, to have such pathetic, meager job creation? Like, you have to understand, chat, that job creation is like the number one most inflated, nonsensical stat that has ever existed in modern, economic theory. Because jobs and job production doesn't really mean anything if people are living like shit. It's not a good metric of how well people are living because it could very well mean more people have 2 jobs instead of 1 in order to pay rent. It's a dog shit metric, not to mention the way that people have inflated it in the past, the way that Biden has inflated it in the past, the way that what is it called? Obama's inflated. Every president has been able to inflate it because of how it's measured. 1, not all jobs are equal. 2, not all jobs are treated the same way. 3, not all jobs are, what is it called? Pay a reasonable rate that comes with benefits, that comes with healthcare. So many ghost jobs too. Yeah. So when your job production is this shit 2 months in a row, this is the one stat that should always be really easy to boast about. This is the number one stat that presidents love to talk about. And they love to be like, we made 6 gajillion jobs. We're going to ignore the fact that your living conditions have worsened, but we made so many jobs. We made jobs for everyone. We made jobs for kids. We made jobs for teens. We made jobs for 80-year-old grandmas. We made jobs for everyone. And you can't even do that because the tariffs fucked our shit up so bad. Like I said, you people are not arguing with me, okay? You're arguing with reality. You're arguing with reality. All right.
Is an economics called middle out. And what that does is it gives directly to the middle class. And then they spend it more and it creates a better economy, especially for small businesses like yours and mine, et cetera. So there's a way to do this. It gives to the average guy first. But
sorry, here on the, this is what I was looking for.
Massive downward review.
This is insane, by the way. Today's job report is truly horrible for Trump administration after they inflated the data for May and June. May initially was 144,000 jobs. June was 147,000 jobs. And it's been revised to 19,000 and 14,000.
For both May and June. May, originally, the government said the economy added 144,000. Now, 19,000. That is a major revision. This is the biggest revisions we've seen since COVID. June was originally at 147. Now it's just at 14,000. You can see it on that bar chart there. June was the worst since December of 2020. I just talked to Joe Bruce-Willis, he's the chief economist over at RSM, and he said, this report that we just got, when you look at the July numbers and the revisions, he says this is the worst major economic report we've gotten since the end of the pandemic era. That was weaker than expected.
Yeah, July going to be negative? 73,000 jobs, huh? Sure.
Republicans never do that. They always push for tax cuts for the richest people in the country.
Do you think that they're just being manipulated by Trump?
Yeah, 100%. So, look, I don't want people manipulated. That's why I do things like this. I don't want you getting
It feels like this guy is just here to learn. He like gives like this crazy premise, and then Cenk is like, yeah, that's what I think. And then the guy's like, really? You think that? Are you sure? Damn. He's not really arguing. He's just
regulated by the politicians on either side. In a time where we have massive deficits and a $38 trillion debt, why are we giving another $1.1
That's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's entertaining.
$1 trillion to people making over $500,000? It doesn't make sense.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother.
You know, he's putting more money into ICE. I would argue that stopping immigration actually, or enforcing it even more heavily, helps the middle class worker in America. There's less jobs that are being taken. When you import a bunch of people, like your housing costs are going to go up. It's inflating the people that need houses in a city, or apartments or whatever. It is taking jobs for middle class to lower class people like me. It's taking jobs.
Unfortunately,
what these people fail to recognize is that is propaganda. That the amount of money that you are getting to keep in your paycheck is not worth the amount of money that you're losing because of tax cuts to the super wealthy. So like you as like a working class person that make next to nothing in America, God forbid you work at minimum wage in America, the tiny 5% cut to your taxes does not make up for the like 10% cut that corporations and millionaires and billionaires are getting, that absolutely will cause the destruction of our infrastructure, of our roads, of our schools, of our hospitals, of everything that we rely on. So everything will get worse, but you get to keep a little bit more money that doesn't make up for the rising costs of everything around you. They're giving this to you because they think that you're an idiot. And as long as you get something minuscule, you'll ignore the fact that you're being robbed.
some of your premises are wrong.
It's like,
so when you take the whole bill, including the cuts to Medicaid and SNAP and other cuts, the bottom 30% actually wind up paying more than they did before.
I mean, that's
so
the
they're
people
they're literally taking from the bottom 30% and giving it to the top 10%.
I mean, but when you talk about SNAP, that's people that are already taking from all of us. So
okay.
And like, this is the other problem that I have with like talking to some conservatives. I don't know how to like get you as a conservative that doesn't care about other people to care about other people. The money that we spend on SNAP is so unbelievably small compared to the money that we give massive multi-billion-dollar corporations in subsidies, in loans, in grants. Like, it is so minuscule, so unbelievably minuscule, so that people can eat food.
See, that's your point of view as a Republican. Do you know the least popular part of the bill? The poll just came out. Only 24%, maybe even lower, support cutting SNAP.
And when when you're a Democrat and you import all these people from third world countries, you're paying them under minimum wage because you see them as the help. Well, yeah, that's gonna benefit you. But when Republicans stop this and they force people to, that work, like to be citizens, or they want people to be citizens, they're being forced to at least earn minimum wage.
The reason why we've never fixed
the mental hoops that he had to jump to come to that sentence. Well, the Republicans are actually really based because they're trying to force the immigrants to be citizens to give them minimum wage, actually. The marbles are gone, people. The marbles.
The immigration problem is because corporations want cheaper
and that's
labor.
awful,
But the Republicans and the Democrats never fixed that.
And so our border crossings are almost at 0% right now.
The top 0.1% are going to get tens of thousands of dollars in tax breaks.
But
you're not explaining why they need that. They don't need that. Why do you know that oil companies get about $15 to $30 billion in subsidies every year? How come the Republicans never talk about that? Oh, we're going to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. But you're not going to cut $30 billion for the richest companies in the world.
Well, that's the problem is when we go down the ladder where, 90% of the elections that take place in this country, they're not at the federal level. They're not with politicians that are receiving hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars.
Yeah, they get bought for cheaper. They get bought for $5,000, $10,000.
Or is it possible that they want to step in and govern?
So, brother, I hear what you're saying. You're saying that the closer you get to the voters, the more honest they are. That's actually true. Look.
Okay. I appreciate that.
So number one.
So you're saying some Republicans do.
Can I just explain?
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you're doing a small seat as a city council, you actually knock on.
Well, my Republican says he's a nice guy, so I'm going to ignore all the evil Republicans, okay?
He looks like a prisoner of war. Shut the fuck up.
That's why progressives win a lot of the city council seats, because the
No, you're so right. He does look like pre-accident Two-Face. He does.
election is with such a small number of people. You don't need as Can I just let me finish? So that way you don't need as much money. You don't
I feel like a prisoner.
need donors. They're more responsive to their actual voters.
Okay, I can't explain it, but he's giving Green Lantern from Superman, but without the bowl cut and without the aura. Agree? Yes or no? Not Green Lantern? Whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. Guy Gardner? Yeah, that guy, whatever. Is he not Green Lantern is he not Green Lantern in Superman? Or is that not that? Is that? He is. Okay, that's what I thought.
Larger you get, once you get to a congressional district with 750,000, the donor money decides how much ads you can take and whether you're going to win or not. So then they become completely beholden to the donors.
What about
so
the
when
primary,
you're talking
Cenk?
about, hey, really low-level Republicans
Cenk,
that yet have not gotten a lot of donor cash, and you say, well, look, hey, don't worry, they'll stay true, but they never do.
Cenk,
when they move up to the next level, they immediately, even if they were true at
That's
the lower
simply
level,
not true.
99% of them all.
How is that literally not true? You can look at every single way that every single Republican in power has voted, every single representative and every single senator, and you'll find that they consistently vote for the status quo. As long as the majority of Republicans agree to make everyone's life worse and to make a couple people's lives richer, they will all fall in line. Republicans are like the party of falling in line.
Other than Massey, they take the donor money and they do exactly what the donors tell them to do.
Is it just a simple misunderstanding or an oversimplification of our system? And
all right, thank you.
That's it? What even? How? Oh man, I was enjoying that one. Boo.
Hey,
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you, brother.
All right, so I'm glad you clarified already. You're talking about Republican politicians. And you brought up donor money, and I
Yeah,
know
they took away my food before I finished. I was still enjoying that. I felt like I was sitting at a fucking restaurant and I was like in the middle of my steak and they were like, that's enough. You can give us the plate now. You're done, right? And I'm like, I'm not done. I'm still eating. Oh my God, please.
that's a big issue with you. But I think that's just not really how it works. I think you have a lot of politicians that start off, as you said, kind of in those lower levels. They do an office here, they do a job here, and then they slowly rise up. And if you can track their views, you see that their views don't actually really change a whole lot over time. When the donor money comes in, it's not like they suddenly change their views and they're a completely new person. They've had the views that they've had for a very,
Is it Democrat or liberal?
very long time.
Republican?
So how can you sit here, Cenk, and look in your crystal ball and say, oh, I know I can look into the souls of Republicans and say, oh, well, they're not actually genuine in some of these proposals.
Yeah. So let's take an example of a person who doesn't have a soul, Ted Cruz. So
you know that. You know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Okay, I think.
I'm not.
Okay. So
I will bravely say he has no soul.
Okay.
So listen, he says to Tucker Carlson recently,
yeah.
Oh, yes, I've taken millions from AIPAC, but I just happen to have that position. I had it earlier. I mean, I know that AIPAC would give me millions of dollars if I say, let's give billions back from the American taxpayer to AIPAC. Let's make sure we support all their wars. Let's fight all their wars for them. Oh, look at that. I happen to agree with my donors. There's a guy who agrees with me. Let's give him money. Let's give him $5,000 in the beginning, then $50,000 later, then $500,000
So
later.
you didn't actually answer my question, Cenk.
What is the question?
So how do you know that Ted Cruz is being disingenuous about his views on Israel?
Oh,
You still
that's the
haven't
easiest-
answered the question.
Surely Ted Cruz just magically loves the state of Israel for no particular reason, and definitely not because he's AIPAC funded. He just feels very strongly about Israel's right to defend itself for no particular reason at all.
That's the easiest question in the
If
world.
it's so easy, then answer it for me.
Okay, so you're saying your hypothesis, my hypothesis is Ted Cruz and the politicians take millions of dollars from donors and do exactly as they're ordered. And how do I know that? Because their voting record matches with their donors perfectly. You're saying, but maybe there's a hypothetical 1% to 2% chance that Ted Cruz just was born out of the womb loving Israel's wars. And he's like, I can't wait to give money to Israel. Whereas, oh, look at that. What a coincidence. AIPAC is giving me millions of dollars for.
I actually, in politics, try to assume good intentions
That's a
on
mistake.
both.
Oh my God. I actually have big baby brain. I would like everyone in here to know I have big baby brain. And I'm an idiot and a total fool. And I think every politician is being honest always. What do you mean some politicians lie? What do you mean most politicians lie? What do you mean almost every single politician is lying? What? Yes, I was actually born yesterday. How did you know?
Both sides. Well, sure, you can say that's a mistake, but I also try to make claims with evidence, and all you've said is, oh, he gets all this money from AIPAC, therefore he's corrupt.
So that's literally not what he said. Like, oh, come on. Oh my. He literally said, go look at his voting records. It matches exactly the demands of what AIPAC puts money into.
As opposed to, how do you know that Ted Cruz did not have these views before and that AIPAC wanted to support him because of the views he already had?
Ted Cruz, known Canadian, Ted Cancun Cruz, who cares about no one and nothing, not even his own dogs, definitely just feels very passionately about Israel. And not at all, again, because he's funded. Not even a little bit.
Thesis is that all of the Republicans that take
it's like Slotkin now running defense for Israel while a majority of her base says fuck them. It's because of they are her donors.
Yeah, your thesis is all of these Republicans take hundreds of millions of dollars from donors. They do exactly what the donors say, but they already believed in all of the things that the donors wanted earlier, so it's just a happy coincidence.
No, it makes perfect sense.
And by the way, the mainstream media totally agrees with you.
It makes perfect sense in my mind.
That's
not
how they
a
cherry pick out of 330 million people.
Crazy,
so
wild
look here,
thing
let me tell you how politics actually works.
No,
a donor walks in this room.
Can you please answer my question? What evidence do you have?
So you're saying of Ted?
I've never seen someone ride or die so hard for Ted Cruz. This is kind of crazy. This is pretty insane. I'm going to be honest. I didn't know Ted Cruz had shooters, but I guess, honestly, this is what a Ted Cruz fan would look like, I think.
I can't read Ted Cruz's mind.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so brother, by your thesis, you can't read Joe Biden's mind. You can't read Kamala Harris's mind. So they're all
not even Ted's kids like him this much.
Listen, they're all angels. Oh my God, the donor money isn't affecting any of them.
Yes,
because I can't read their minds.
Biden's a bad person.
I can read
I
their
think
voting
Joe Biden's
record.
a great person.
I can read their voting record. I could read their
You've
donations.
No
Open
evidence,
Secrets
Cenk.
tells you sound exactly like mainstream media. These politicians are honorable.
You're operating
and
based
just
off
happen to
feelings
agree
alone.
with the donors that gave him hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Cenk, good to see you again. I know you keep saying it's a pressure valve, but we have them actually fighting for working class people by giving them less taxes on tips, less taxes on overtime.
Yeah. So first of all, Donald Trump has made a tremendous amount of money, and his family has. So right after he
bringing up taxes on tips is like the biggest. Hey, everybody, look, I'm a total fucking moron. I think that removing taxes on tips is a good thing, and it's definitely not being used to levy power or levy support from idiots like me. Do you think this guy knows that it's only on the first 25K? Do you think he knows that it's only for 4 years? Do you think he knows that in addition to the no tax on tips, we got a bunch of other policies that help the rich permanently?
left office the first time, his son-in-law got a $2 billion deal from the Saudis, and he was in charge of our policy towards Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. That's a disaster. Brother, then answer this for me. Then why don't they only propose a tax cuts for the middle class? Why don't they say, hey, we're not going to cut from the poor and we're not going to give to the rich. We're only going to do it for the middle class. Why don't they ever do that?
From what I understand, they're not cutting out the good parts of Medicaid. They're only cutting out the corruption and fraud.
They're just they're removing the fraud and waste from Medicare and Medicaid. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Can I show you guys a meme? Can I show you all a meme? Hold up. I have to say, the Fell For It Again award, the memes are really taking off. This 97-year-old diner still serves Coke the old-fashioned way on the Fell For It Again page. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Jesus. I can't believe that. I can't believe that this guy actually thinks that they're only cutting out the fraud. That's amazing. Let me see if I can find the article. There was someone, oh my God, what the hell? My voice. There was someone in Doge that came out semi-recently, like a month or two ago, basically saying that there was very little fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm seeing if I can find the article. I can't find it immediately off the top of my... like immediately off this Google search. It was like, yeah, this one. I'm trying to find the original article on this. For some reason, finding the original article is like fucking impossible. No, not about the sensitive information being leaked. Not about all of our data being leaked. Not about this. Man, it's so frustrating to find. This one. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Former Doge engineer says he was surprised by how efficient the government is. A former employee of the Department of Government Efficiency says that during his short time embedded with the Department of Veteran Affairs, he did not find the levels of waste, fraud, and abuse he had expected and was pretty surprised, actually, at how efficient the government was. Said the overall message at Doge was transparency and a vibe of ask for forgiveness, not permission. When a blogger asked for an interview about Gumroad, he agreed when asked. He talked about how his work at Doge, including how little inefficiency he saw compared to what he was expecting. Elon Musk was pretty clear about how he wanted Doge to be maximally transparent. That's something he said a lot in private and publicly, so I thought, okay, cool, I'll take him at his word. I'll be transparent. Shortly after the interview was published, he got an email. Just 55 days into his work at Doge, his access had been revoked. And it's like, the reason why people think that there's a lot of like waste, abuse, and fraud, especially the people in like the Doge camp, is because I will tell you, like companies, like public companies, or sorry, private companies have a lot of waste. A lot of waste. Like corporations have so much waste and fraud and abuse, to be very clear. But like, we've all, can we just be honest really quickly? We've all seen those like, follow my day working at Google. And it's like, when are you working? You didn't even work all day. What the fuck? Streamers work more than you and they don't have jobs. Like, what the fuck? What is this? It's like, I wake up at 10 a.m. It's like, I show up to work. It's a 15-minute drive. Okay, lucky. I go and get breakfast. At work, you're getting your 11 o'clock. I check to see if I've gotten any emails. I haven't gotten any. I go to the working lounge and sit down for 2 hours. It's like, what did you do in there? Oh no. I go and get my lunch break for 3 hours. It's like, when are you working? You're literally not working. Oh God. I shitpost on my alt account for 3 hours. Yeah. Anyways, so I think a lot of people who've worked for big companies know that there's a lot of like waste because it's more effort than it's worth to sit down and like cut through all the waste. Because you end up with like what happened with Twitter with Elon Musk, where he fired 80% of the staff. But the problem is you can't just go in and fire 80% of the people because they spend most of their time not working. Because sometimes the little time that they spend working is enough to keep the company afloat and to keep the programs working and to keep the website working and to keep everything functioning.
4 a.m. I wash my face in Saratoga and wipe with a banana peel.
Exactly. So anyways, Denims, that's why nobody's fired me. Yeah, dope. Yes. I mean, listen, I'm all for it. Okay, I'm all for it. I think as long as you get your work done, you're doing your job. Okay, like didn't you also have to rehire a lot of them? I mean, yeah, the website started breaking horribly in a bunch of different ways because surprise, surprise. Yeah, maybe those people weren't working full 8-hour workdays, but they were still working enough time to keep the website working or to keep Twitter running. So anyways, what a lot of people in like private companies don't understand is that public work, this is way less of a problem. Like, which you would know if you've ever been poor or have ever spoken to someone who has ever been poor. Trying to call like social services, trying to call for like Medicare, trying to call for Medicaid, trying to call for like the IRS, call for anything government related, anything federally government related. It's a nightmare. You're on hold for 17 hours and then you have like you have 1 second to respond when they say, hello, are you there? You're not there? Okay, bye. It's like, no. You call again. You are 200th in line. No, I guess I'll call tomorrow. Hello, bye. It's like, no, stop. Fuck. But like, that's by design. There's a lot less workers and they have a lot more work to do. So you can't really get in contact with a lot of these people because they already are swamped in random fucking work that they have to do. That straight is my supervisor. He shows up at 9:30. He leaves anywhere from 1 to 3 p.m. without taking PTO. Most of the time, he's like doing 2 hours of work, if that, while less workers must be in office from 8 to 5. I mean, unironically, Mad Men. Like Don Draper is unironically like a lot of CEOs where they just like show up to work for however much time they want to. They make other people do the work and they leave whenever they want to. And it's like, okay, I guess. Sure. They just hang up on you now when you get through the queue. Damn. And then not to mention, like, the money that does get dispersed by the government is like, it's like pennies. They're like drops in a bucket. Which again, if you've ever been poor or have spoken to anyone who's ever been poor, people on like SNAP don't get like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for food. Like these people think that they get like $10,000 checks at the end of every single month. It's like most of the people that are on SNAP still have to pay out of pocket for groceries. They just don't have to pay all of their salary towards groceries. And I know in a lot of states you can't pay for hot food with SNAP. They get like a few hundred, if that. Yeah. And that's like if you have like a family. One chatter says, bro, I got $30 a month. This S in SNAP is supplemental. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, first of all, you can only get food at grocery stores. In most states, it's only cold food. You can't get pre-prepared food, which is nonsense. And people are still like, we should make it so you can only use SNAP on vegetables. It's like, I actually hate everything you are and stand for. And I think you are a terrible person. If you are for that policy, I actually hate you so much. If you think that that's a good idea, I hate you and everything you stand for. But yeah, I do know in other states, like I think in California, I've seen lots of like both fast food chains and also like the hot section in grocery stores that say that they accept SNAP. So it's a state by state or even maybe city by city policy for sure. But there are lots of states where you can't even fucking...
It is crazy how most customer service representatives attempt to hang up the phone as quickly as possible, rather than assist, and then once in a while, you finally get the person who knows what they're doing and spends hours helping you.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't blame the individual workers, like, I get it. Working phone service sucks. As someone who's done it, it fucking sucks. And they have, like, hundreds or thousands of people that call, and they don't know how to help you. Like, they don't know what to do for you. They're just like, they're just trying to get through their fucking day. But moving on. Depending on the deli in New York City, the people who work will ring you up for a cold with EBT, even if you get hot. Dude, fucking based. Fucking based. What was I saying? Oh yeah, there's already so little money going into these social programs and these safety nets. There's already so little money that goes into like SNAP that there isn't much to cut out. Like they're already operating on such a bare bones foundation that when if you cut anything out, you're just, at some point, you're just removing the services for the people. It's like I don't know cuts of meat, okay? So like someone who knows cuts of meat, you can tell me what this exact cut of meat is. But it would be like getting this cut of meat and being like, we got to trim the fat. I think there's about 20% fat here that I got to trim. And it's like, dog, there's no fat to trim. There's no fat there. Hello? Bro, what fat are you trimming? You're just removing the steak. You're like, no, you don't need this. Put this in the trash. It's like, stop, dude. What? It's already lean, man.
So,
No.
You laugh at that. Is that okay?
$800 billion.
Can we agree that we should cut out fraud from Medicaid?
That is not what this is at all.
What do you mean it's not? There's tons of fraud in it.
No, here's the trick, okay? There's tons of fraud at the Pentagon.
You're right.
Hundreds of
We can
billions
agree
of
on
dollars
that.
of fraud at the Pentagon. And they added...
Sorry, I just wanted to highlight a positive story. Chatter said, when I got out of rehab a couple years ago, I went to a sober living home and basically a group home for those that don't know. Because I had nowhere to go. It was impossible to get a job. We all had to pool our EBT money together each month because we got nothing individually. Been clean for over a year now. I'm doing well, so don't feel bad or anything. I'm happy for you, Chatter. I'm happy life is better for you now. But that's fucking disgusting that our system forces people to act that way and to have to rely on finding community instead of just helping people who need it.
Yes, 90% of your voters. If you're a Republican, you're voting yes, 74% of your voters. I know why you're voting against them, because the donors told you vote against the American people. It is that simple.
Legislation
but you want to
doesn't just say a
defend
piece of
politicians for no
Dude,
reason.
it's not
They're
just
not
like-
your
hold
friends.
on.
They're not your allies.
It's not just a piece of paper that says paid family leave. There's stuff that goes into it that's complicated. Appreciate it.
That guy is from Copenhagen. He just is insisting that he is just absolutely insisting that there's no way, that there's no universe at all. It is not at all possible for the Democrats to be evil instead of competent. Instead of incompetent.
Pleasure to meet you, Cenk.
All right, good to meet you, brother. I like your shirt.
Thank you, people over politics. So I do agree with you that money has a control over politics. We see super PAC spending. We see Mitch McConnell and longtime figures, 40 years in politics, and I'm pretty sure everyone is just sick of it. I don't agree with on the media half, and I kind of want to explain why.
MSNBC is the biggest opponent of progressive populists in the Democratic Party. Whenever, like when Bernie was about to win after he won the first 3 states in 2020, then they sent out Chuck Todd, Chris Matthews, and others to say if Bernie wins, he's a communist that'll start executions in Central Park. He said, that's what Chris Matthews said. Chuck Todd talked about his followers being brown shirts. I said in the beginning of that campaign, the people in power will be so opposed to Bernie that by the end they'll call him anti-Semitic. And they called him anti-Semitic, okay, even though he's Jewish. So on AOC, no one covered her in mainstream media before her historic primary win. We covered her 34 times.
I mean, you can only have this position, I feel like, as a fucking total conservative or having total conservative brain. Like, literally look at the way that CNN and MSNBC treated Zoran. Look at the questions they asked him. Hey, so like, we're just wanting to confirm you are anti-Semitic, right? Okay, great. Now that we didn't give you time to respond, can we all denounce anti-Semitism from everyone, especially the evil brown people, because they're so fucking anti-Semitic? Thank you for your time. You can leave now. Like, that is straight up what they were doing on CNN. Straight up what they were doing on MSNBC, dude.
So the reason for that is because, yes, some parts of media now are better, to your original point. Independent media is better. For all its problems and warts and et cetera, it's at least opening up the discussion to more free thought and getting people thinking. That's why I was really worried about it in 2024, because Democrats have become like corporate talking point robots, the establishment Democratic politicians. So they don't like to engage with Joe Rogan or these other folks. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're giving away billions of dollars in free media. Trump had the right strategy. But at the end of the day, because he was all over media and he got billions of dollars in extra media coverage, that is part of the reason why he won.
While media has influence and everything else, it still comes down to the individuals to vote. So whenever it comes down to that, then how can you explain they still have control, even though at the end of the day, it's still the individual's right and the individual's ability to go vote and make their voice.
How is global warming the company's fault when people still buy Coke and Pepsi? How is it Nestle's fault that they abuse the water and they cause droughts when people buy Nestle? She's getting mocked by the girl behind her now. Manufactured consent needs to be mandatory reading. Like, these people just haven't been given just like the shortest version, the shortest TLDR of manufactured consent. It's like, who will win? A bunch of good faith voters that are trying to improve their lives and the people around them, or multi-billion-dollar conglomerates that are actively paying every single media machine to convince everyone that the problems around them are being caused by the immigrants.
How does anything ever get into your head? So like when you go into a voting booth,
I feel like I learned this shit from anime and comic books, like question mark, question mark. Well, also I feel like villains, we used to be cool with villains being rich, evil pieces of shit, like Scrooge McDuck, right? Like literal oil baron, evil fucks. Lex Luthor is another good example. Yeah. And then like Loki, okay, this is kind of a crazy stance to hold. This is kind of crazy. But Iron Man kind of did irreparable damage to our psyche. Because like Batman was always, oh, the people in power are corrupt and I can use my money to fight that, but I'm using money to fight money. Iron Man was like, I'm going to kill the evil terrorists because I'm epically rich and super smart, and I'm epically rich because I'm super smart. It's like, maybe the worst example though, Scrooge was a hero in all of his shit except for the Christmas Carol. Even then, he's a billionaire with a reformed heart of gold. Okay, that's fair. Jarvis, playing for the love of the money while I shoot nondescript browns. Dude, going back and watching Iron Man 1, where like the brown people, they didn't even try. They just made them like some weird brown conglomerate. They're like, yeah, these brown people are every single type of brown people. And they speak Persian and Arabic. And they also speak every brown language. That sounds scary to you. It's like, what do you, oh my God, this is so racist. Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh, I think Iron Man is a nuanced character. Oh, I mean, yeah, I agree. But the problem is like how media is made and how media is used. Like the intentions of the people that make these characters and these works is going to be different than how they're interpreted. And I think the iterations of Iron Man that we got in movie form were not good for the general psyche. Even though Iron Man was just like, the story is supposed to be, yeah, Lockheed Martin is evil and we should take back power. But everybody just saw like, oh my God, he's just like Elon Musk for real. Elon Musk is just like Iron Man. When you're smart, you become rich. And it's like, No. I'm not talking about the comic books. I'm not talking about the comic books of Iron Man. I'm sure the thing with comic books that's hard or like that's weird is that so many different authors have gotten their hands on different superheroes. So there's so many different iterations of any individual superhero. So I'm only talking about the Iron Man the movie. I also haven't read the Iron Man comic book, so I literally can't comment on them. I was only talking about the movie. Also, let's be honest, comic books aren't penetrating the public psyche. I'm pretty sure the movies have made way more money than the Iron Man comic books ever have and probably ever will.
You see names, right? But if you never saw that person and you never heard their name because they didn't have enough money for ads and the media didn't cover it, that person has no chance of winning. It's like there's a mythology in mainstream media that two people go into an octagon and then people decide which one is better, right? That's not how it actually works.
Access to be able to see all of these things.
Oh, God, dude, she got cooked. But that was not a good argument at all, so.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Hey, nice to meet you. Kyle?
Yeah, so I think money doesn't necessarily have a mind. So I'd like to kind of take it to who's making the decisions on how to allocate the capital. And so does party loyalty here play at all, right? Like at the end of the day, you're going to have politicians who can influence where that capital is coming from.
So you raise it from the industry you're supposed to be regulating with the implicit promise that you do not regulate them and you give them whatever you want. So in order to be a committee chairman, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you must take what is a campaign contribution, but really a bribe from that industry and make sure you protect that industry.
I think it's a cynical view that the...
Yes, it is. And it's true.
Again, I think what...
This is just like, this entire Jubilee is just guy who is accurate about the political system being a total sham versus 20 gullible idiots. Well, sorry, 19 gullible idiots. That one woman was cooking him. Xena, she was cooking the shit out of him. Like, he just says something that is accurate, and they're like, well, that can't be true. The political system, just because it hasn't worked in the past 4 decades, doesn't mean it's broken. It just means that they are just they're just not trying hard enough, or they are, and it's just like, it's really difficult.
What we're talking about is to what degree does the political structure and government structure just enable, right? Like, I don't think like a claim around Republicans only caring about the poor, or not caring about the poor, only caring about the rich. Are they just acknowledging the practical reality of in order to facilitate a successful race, you have to raise capital, so you have to please donors? So they're not.
Was our system perfect? No, but productivity went way up, and so did wages.
You're assuming money
in
has to kind of change
1978,
hands.
the Supreme Court.
It doesn't have to come in the form of bribery.
Yeah, campaign contributions when
saying
they're coming from corporate donors
if you're
are
pissing
bribery.
off rich donors, they can still pour money into media campaigns to influence the outcomes of the elections. So, like money, practically speaking, I just don't see how you ever get to a point where money is not at all influential in a political race.
Yeah, so don't give.
Well, we're always going to have bribery, so we should stop talking about it. Amazing. See what I mean when I say that these people need like a shonen anime in their life? They need to, they can't imagine a world where you have a fair system. Their brains can't possibly imagine a world that doesn't rely on compromise and doesn't settle with evil things in it.
Up hope. So can you do it? Of course you can, because we had it. We had it between 38 and 78. We did, and it led to the greatest middle class. It led to the best
economy. To what degree did social media exist in that period of time?
So like, but social media is better than mainstream media. And then they build high rises that are for super rich people, and then you don't get the affordable housing, and homelessness goes up.
They don't build. Because if you live on a block of single family housing, okay, and city council makes it so that next to your house, some company could come in, destroy it, build a huge apartment complex on your block, people hate it. NIMBYism is real. No one wants that on their block. And city council doesn't want to freak out their voters. Like there's this thing called like politics where they don't want to massively upset people. So they don't rock the boat. And it's just, and the homeowners aren't giving.
As a quick question here, just really quickly, do you think at all that's because of, I don't know, manufactured consent? I will die on this fucking hill that if we had Vienna style public housing, people wouldn't be so fucking opposed to public housing in the US. People wouldn't be so fucking opposed to high density housing. But it's because Americans literally can't imagine good high density housing, which is why they hate it. And that's the only reason they hate it. I consider it. What's wrong, Meerkat? Oh, is it that I am not giving you love right now? You need love and attention right now. I know. Also, what this guy is saying isn't even true. Israel policy is incredibly unpopular, but the Dems aren't scared of following that doctrine. You mean, look at like fucking marijuana. Marijuana is unbelievably popular in terms of legalizing it. And guess what? It's still not federally legal. Girl, fuck the stream, pet the cat. Okay, you're kind of right. You're kind of right. May your cat. May your cat. What is NIMBYism? Not in my backyard. NIMBY. See, now he's happy. Now he's a happy worm. Oh, yes. Oh, you guys can't see it. Oh, yes, Mayor Cat. Oh, the scratches. Yes. Let the cat continue the stream. So true, King. I will. Anyways, yeah, I genuinely believe that NIMBYs only exist because people can't imagine what good public housing looks like because they've been convinced by mainstream media and their consent has been manufactured into thinking that there is no such thing as good public housing. I'm trying to find, there's like the only version of the video that exists on like American YouTube is the one of like the Hassan react. I'm trying to like find it because I don't know why it's not available in the US anymore. You can only see it if you have like a VPN or something. But there's one Hassan react on it. That's really, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I genuinely believe it is my mission on this planet, on this earth, to show people this video, to convince people that their hatred of high density housing is unjustified, and that high density living, high density buildings are actually a better way to live than the fucking suburban hell where, yeah, you have a yard and everything is 10 miles away.
You're sitting on a pretty high horse, and I envy hear that though, chat.
Indoor swimming pool as well. They have nurseries, school. It's huge. Erla, a social housing estate on the outskirts of Vienna. It may look like tough, brutalist architecture, but actually, it's humane, caring design of the highest order. Oh wow, look at that. They've even got an indoor swimming pool as well. They have nurseries, schools and tennis courts all conveniently on site.
Public housing with indoor tennis courts, dude. That's disgusting. You know what? Everybody talks about income inequality. How about we start talking about the inequality between like governments that have offered basic amenities to their citizens unconditionally and governments that don't do that and frown upon that kind of behavior like America. Nobody's talking about the disparity of government amenities between America and fucking...
Chatter says, yeah, I left a house to do apartment living. Everything's much closer and you have access to amenities. Well, I think the other thing too is people have had such shit landlords, and also people have lived in a lot of apartments with really dog shit soundproofing. So they, again, can't imagine a universe where like that doesn't exist. But if you've ever lived in like a well-maintained apartment, and if you've ever lived in a unit that has like good soundproofing, you can already begin to imagine what that would look like if it was more affordable.
Austria, dude.
Wait, let me get back to the video.
Council housing estate with loads of swimming pools, indoor and outdoor, clubs, play spaces. I'd be left out of town because everybody would say you couldn't do that. With 10,000 residents, Alt Erla.
Of course, these are on...
Chatter says, my apartment is very quiet, so it's definitely possible. I mean, I can tell you for a fact, I've lived in apartments that have no fucking soundproofing, where you can hear everything. And currently the place that I live in, much better soundproofing. Like, there are people that will, like, play music at, like, midnight, and they're, like, partying and having fun or whatever. And I close my windows and I don't hear anything. Like, the soundproofing is really good. Where I have neighbors and I just, like, kind of don't hear them.
The outskirts, right? But they also...
Wait, I want to get back to the video.
That's the highest density living in Vienna. But you'd never guess that from the peaceful atmosphere. Monica.
Hi.
Hi, so nice to see you. Monica pays the equivalent of £600 a month.
Look at that. That person...
£600 a month. What is that in real money? $800.
Is 100% a crusty anarchist in any other fucking organization. This person literally is like... This is 100% a crusty anarchist that is like screaming at me.
I soundproofed my stream room by wrapping every wall in 5 inches of asbestos. I think this is doable on a national scale.
About fucking mutual aid on Twitter in any other circumstance.
Monica pays the equivalent of £600 a month rent for her flat. Back in Harlow, temporary accommodation can give you a quarter of the size for almost the same rent. And with the Viennese having such secure tenancies, there's little temptation to buy. So Monica has no stress of being moved on, which is handy, as her dad Heinz lives in the block next door.
How long have you lived here?
40 years.
40 years?
40 years.
Amazing.
Yes.
Why is this place so special?
Because we have everything here. Everything we need.
We have 15 physicians, doctors. We have all the shops.
Groceries, drugstores.
For schools.
For schools.
And you have your own TV channel.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So if there's any pottery classes tonight, we send it and we inform the people. Yeah, okay, it's not.
Okay, I totally see the fucking envy thing.
And he just goes on to talk about how, like, it's a good video. I put it in chat. It's really, really good. Like, why is Gordon Ramsay reviewing Austrian housing? Can't just look at every British person and think that they're Gordon Ramsay, okay? All right. Revoy, thank you for the 8 months. Like, again. It's just that Americans can't imagine this world. So they think that the only solution has to be more suburbs. And it's like, dude, no. Please. Not one more lane. We don't need any more lanes. We don't need any more suburbs. Please. I don't see the link. What do you mean? Oh, in chat? Oh, sorry. Thought you meant you don't see the link in like what I'm trying to say. Using an outdated model of growth, it's literal cancer. Yeah. Skin, thank you for the prime. It's sad. It's just like really sad. So anyways, yeah, like homeowners don't want high density housing near them. A bunch of people are NIMBYs because they can't imagine what good high density living looks like, what high density homes could look like. Wouldn't it be dope if instead of living in this property that you have to maintain fully yourself, that when something breaks, you have to fucking take out 10K out of your pocket to fucking fix it? Oh, your roof is leaking? Congrats. You have to fix that out of your own fucking money, out of your own pocket. And you get to live in the middle of fucking nowhere while you do it. Congrats. You have a beautiful yard that you never use because you don't know anyone in your neighborhood because you live in the fucking suburbs. Wouldn't it be dope instead if you and everybody else in your building, I don't know, almost like in a healthcare way, pooled your money together to be able to hire someone to fix the problems? Wouldn't that be dope if like that was in a sort of communal way? An HOAs are not the same thing. HOAs are just a way to make you pay more money for nonsense. Does this happen in other countries? I mean, I posted a video showing Vienna housing where this isn't this is not a fucking problem. None of my landlords have ever done repairs. So do you see what I mean when I say like Americans can't imagine this universe because they've never gotten to experience anything even close to it? It's only a myth to Americans? Yeah. What's next? Walkable cities? Yeah. It's no different than Helsinki getting rid of homelessness. These are problems that other people have solved, that other countries have solved, other cities have solved, other states have solved. Like, I will tell you, living in an apartment complex, I have lived my whole life in an apartment complex that, like, growing up, that didn't fix shit. We had a giant, I'm not joking, Saddam Hussein-sized hole in our ceiling for months because our landlord was too cheap to fucking fix it. I'm being very serious. It was a giant hole in our fucking ceiling. For months. There was a crack in the window of the bedroom with like a giant hole for years. So please do not, I swear to God, insta-ban on anyone who's like, well, you haven't lived in a bad apartment. You haven't had a bad landlord. I will find you and shake you lightly. And now living somewhere where like there are maintenance staff at the premise from 9 to 5. Holy shit. Whoa. What a fucking upgrade in life. Oh my God. That like if there's a small problem, it's like, oh look, all of us, pay for this laborer to fix the issues on the site, on the premise. And it works. This is amazing. This is so dope. This is crazy. I am the 9 to 5 maintenance man. I love the 9 to 5 maintenance man. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. So don't be poor. Okay, so did you see how I showed a video of like Vienna public housing where the lady said that she pays $800 a month for like a 1-bedroom? Did you see that part, or like did you miss that part where I showed that part of the? Did you miss that? Did you miss that? Just wondering. So this is what I mean when I say like people literally can't imagine a better world. They can't. Like Americans are so cucked on housing And we're so fucked on housing that we can't imagine a universe where housing can be better. But Denims, how does that benefit the shareholders? Okay. Good point. Good point. I didn't think about that one. Wait a minute. I don't even know if I should read this message out loud. I knew someone who moved into an apartment that had maggots living behind the drywall in the bathroom, and the landlord just painted over the fucking maggots. What do you mean by that? It's psych right now. It's psych right now, dude. Come on, please. If you do that you straight to jail, okay? And over here is the maggot wall. The Roach King is a landlord now. Okay, sorry. TLDR. If people would broaden their horizons and see how other people live in other countries, they would realize that the not in my backyard nonsense is total horseshit, completely useless, does not improve society, and there is a better world. There is better living.
Any money, like real estate developers are not the little guy, and they're not getting their way.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you picked that example because I actually have personal experience with that through someone that works at TYT.
Also, he was donating billions of dollars. If we don't have, right now, do you have a populist candidate that we as the people should be supporting? Who's the candidate?
So we're going to see that through the system, the primaries, et cetera. But Jon Stewart's amazing. Ro Khanna's amazing.
And how much money have they gotten from corporate donors?
So Ro Khanna does not take any money from corporate donors. If you're going to be in Rebellion PAC, you're not allowed to take corporate PAC money. Okay. So there's a way to do it that way, get enough of the legislators that are honest. And by the way, there are some Republicans who are now not taking corporate PAC money. Thomas Massey, Josh Hawley.
But if they're not taking
that's the road to redemption, right, et cetera. But an amendment fixes the entire system.
But the question then goes back to, in order to get an amendment, that requires a 2/3 majority in both houses of Congress, correct?
No, you can actually go around Congress. 2/3 of the states can propose a convention to just propose an amendment, and then 3/4 of the states have to ratify.
Which requires the legislature to take action, right? So how do you get legislatures that already are slaves to the corporate donors? Because the book that I believe in says money, the love of money is the root of all evil, and I think that's absolutely true. A lot of these brothers love money.
100% chance this guy's a fucking capitalist.
A lot of these sisters love money. So how do you then work on, because what this actually is more of a moral issue. So how do you then re-establish proper functioning morality within the hearts of politicians who have already demonstrated they've been bought by this thing called the US dollar? Because that's what this is.
Yeah, two ways to do that, brother. So number one, what Wolfpack does is it pressures state legislatures.
Always be plugging, Cenk, always.
The Republican guy or the conservative guy I was talking to earlier, remember we said when you get to the lower and local levels, it gets better and better. The national level is the worst because that involves the most amount of money. So state legislatures, you can move. In fact, Jamie Raskin was opposed to our legislation when he was a state representative in Maryland. And then we talked to him and we convinced him, and he said, "You guys are right. Now I'm going to support the constitutional amendment." So you do get some really good people at the state level. So that's a much better path because they have less money. But even so, brother, the bigger way.
State is great, but here's just a quick question. State is fantastic, but we need changes that impact all Americans to take place at the national level. So it's fine for you to focus on state. I understand that the lower ranking an elected official is, the easier it is probably to change them. How do you change the person that's sitting currently at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue or the 9 Supreme Court justices that are currently on Capitol Hill?
So that's the great thing about the Wolfpack plan. It doesn't require the...
Oh my God. Do we get time to... I don't want to hear about the Wolfpack anymore. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Please.
President at all, and it goes above the Supreme Court. So it doesn't require Congress, the president, or the Supreme Court. It's a total end run of the American people against Washington, D.C. And by the way, that's why the Founding Fathers put it in there, to make sure that if Washington got too corrupt, you can actually call for conventions at the state level and get it done. And how do you do that on a national scale? You need one incredible leader to, instead of worrying about himself, to worry about the American people.
And that leader, Cenk Uygur.
He actually, anyone who gets money out of politics is going to have statues built of them all across the country. You need one brave and honest person to say, yes, I'm going to fight for all of you guys, and I'm going to put a world of pressure, yes, on politicians in my own party,
so then based
to get
on that,
this done.
So based on that, what does that ideal politician look like then? Because we haven't seen it. Trump ran, he said, we're going to drain this swamp. He hasn't drained the swamp. Yeah. We're still waiting on the release of the Epstein files. We're still waiting on the full unredacted release of MLK. We're still waiting on the unredacted release of JFK. What does that actual candidate look like? Because all this rhetoric is fantastic, I got to tell you.
So in our lifetime, because of overwhelming money in politics, we haven't
He gets shot every time he does a
seen
plug.
an ideal candidate like that, is what you're saying.
Right.
And I largely agree, except for
You want me to die?
Bernie Sanders is
But he doesn't have the.
So look, my problem. No, my problem with Bernie is that he didn't have the fight in him. Like, I love the brother, but he should have fought Hillary harder. He should have fought Biden harder. And
He gets shot every time there's a black person in this chair and he says brother.
you need strength to be able to win, right? So, but remember, FDR did it. JFK did it.
FDR?
LBJ did it. With
You mean the same
economic
president?
issues.
FDR did what? What did FDR do besides steal Americans' wealth?
No,
with the illegal executive order that took our gold from us. What did he do?
He did Social Security.
Oh my God!
He
Come
helped
on.
labor.
FDR stole the last real wealth we had. He stole it when he forced Americans to turn in gold to the Treasury at a rate of $20 an ounce.
No. It's totally possible. You've got to believe and you've got to have hope.
No, I'm going to run for
person.
office one day. I do believe it. Now, let me, if I may, just this really quick point. You're talking to somebody that's going to run for president in 15 years, okay? I've already started this. I'm running for Congress in 2030. So it's not that I don't believe, but what I'm asking is you are talking about the fundamental moral restructuring of America. Right now, 2025, there is no politician on Capitol Hill in the White House that has the sort of fire that you're describing. And what you're saying is
I need to hear that again. I'm sorry. I'm like, my brain is getting Jubilee like rot in it.
I'm going to run for office one day. I do believe it. Now, let me, if I may, just this really quick point. You're talking to somebody that's going to run for president in 15 years, okay? I've already started this. I'm running for Congress in 2030.
Oh, you're not him. Like, you're not. You are not him. You are not him. I promise you, you are not him. Okay?
This stream brought to you by.
So it's not that I don't believe.
But you know what, dude? On our current track, we're headed directly towards idiocracy.
You're
So
disrespecting
maybe
a future U.S. Army soldier.
maybe in a way you are him. You're just not the person that we think of when we think of him. You know, you're like idiocracy's him.
But what I'm asking is you are talking about the fundamental moral restructuring
This stream brought to you by Wolf Cola, proud sponsor of Wolfpack. So we're almost done. We're almost done.
of America. Right now, 2025, there is no politician on Capitol Hill in the White House that has the sort of fire that you're describing, and what you're saying is again, it's great rhetoric. But if we don't even know what that ideal candidate looks like,
so the reason I mentioned somebody like Jon Stewart is you can't know ahead of time who the ideal candidate is. Okay, they got to come through the primary and win, right? But the reason I mention him is because he can get past the Praetorian Guard of the mainstream media because he's a celebrity. So that gets him into the Trump land where they cover him because, oh my God, he's famous, right?
Okay.
So that allows him to get past the media, get past money in politics. And if one person like that, whether it's him or someone else, then raises their hand and goes, hey, I'm with...
I got a lot more to say, but that was
Wolfpack.
good.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Very good.
Wolfpack has a plan to do that. Here, Gat.
Okay. I'm torn on this because there's a couple people who didn't talk, but everybody made good points and was certainly sufficiently aggressive. But Oliver, was it? Yeah, you made good points and you didn't come up a second time, so I'll go with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Bobby2555, for coming in here to tell me that Hassan is a piece of garbage. Thank you so much for your input. I will put it in the box of complaints. Thank you.
Look forward to this opportunity. So my general claim is that Cenk Uygur's populism fails because it treats social issues as a distraction rather than essential to achieving economic justice. So kind of my claim here...
I don't give a fuck. I literally don't give a fuck. How can Wolfpack solve this? That's what I want to know. That is what I want to know. I just want to know, how can Wolfpack solve this? Just tell me, please. Jesse Waters, tell me why Democrats will beg for a third term if Trump does this. Tell me, Jesse